So yeah, so let's get the sparge on. Get this up on top. Well, that's running off. Yeah, it seems to be running okay so far, but you know, as I say, there's plenty of room for disaster yet. So I said we've made this beer before, but in my usual style, I like to mix things up a little bit. And we're using a different yeast on this one this time, whereas before I used WHC saturated. The kind guys at Brewer Select, so Lochran, which are like a commercial brewer supplier, have given me a pack of Pomona from Lalaman to try with this batch, which I think would be really interesting. Doing a bit of reading on it and flavours and stuff like that this yeast is supposed to kick out, I think could work really nicely with the grist and with the hop combinations. Plus, the attenuation is there and thereabouts. I think it's going to attenuate a little bit more, which isn't such a bad thing. You know, we've mashed this quite warm, so I think that should work. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Let's get the hot water hose. Oopsie. Just being really conscious of the speed at which I'm running off into the underback. I don't want to induce any issues like sucking the grain bed down or anything like that. So I want to try and get this as right as possible. So we can get a true representation of what's going on. But yeah, so we're pretty much set up, ready to go. So it's a 590 litre sparge on this one. So let's get our first runnings sample. Yeah, I think that's going to be the risk to keep an eye on with this one is make sure we're not running off at a ferocious rate. Do you know what I mean? We're just like whizzing it straight through. So just conscious we get it right. Okay. Yeah, that's coming down. And I get this not that fast, but we'll get the pump set around about there. This is all sealed up. That's all shut and ready. That valve's shut. She's ready to go. Pretty sure we're aiming for 1,000 litres, I think, pre-boil. All right, let's give the mash pump a start. And let's get the sparge water going. And that's 8:48. Let's give it a go. Cool, I might give it a bit of a shove that direction, but looking good. Of course, I've got you balanced on there, so I can't climb up on you, look inside the kettle, but I can do that with my other little step. Yeah, cool. Okay. Let's see how she goes, shall we? Just bring this a touch this way. Get it more central. Cool. Okay, we're on. I'll give you a little look. So yeah, so we've just started the runoff. Obviously, it's always going to come to a bit murky. I don't have the ability to recircuit loads to get it, you know, super bright. But again, this is a hazy beer, so we're fine with it being like this. But it will clear up as it runs through. But yeah, it seems to be running off quite nicely actually. So see, we weren't even getting that kind of velocity in the underback before. It was literally struggling to push it round. Just need to tune the balance things out a little bit. But yeah, sparge is kind of going. And is that going to work? There we go. So yeah, run a little bit slow. I'm going to speed that up a little bit. Give that a little bit of a... Oh, hello. Maybe not that much. There you go. That's a bit more like it. So yeah, sparge is running nicely there. Just starting to go into the kettle. Cool. And I've marked my start of my sparge, so I know exactly how much volume I'm putting in. Yeah, and we're there. So you might have seen me earlier. I always like to give the inside of my tanks a bit of an inspection before we go reassembling and sterilising them. So I always like to get inside with a torch and have a good look round and just make sure that we're happy that it's as clean as it can be. One thing I did notice just looking down here, I'm not sure if the camera shows it, is there's a little bit of a tide mark around there, and I don't think the racking arm's as clean as it could be. So I'm going to whip that out and lean in and give that bit of a scrub. I've also noticed up here that, and this is always an area we've always forgotten, is the dry hop port. I'm not sure whether that's going to focus or not, but it's a bit grubby on the inside of the port. So I'm going to give that a bit of a clean as well. Give the back of the door a bit of a clean. Give the ports a quick scrub, and then we'll set it on to sterilise. So we are nearly finished on the sparge now. We've just gone under the final 100 litre mark, so we've got about 80 odd litres to go left on the sparge. Let me just spin you around. Hang on a second. So yeah, running clearer. That's the one thing I will say I've noticed is that normally by this point this would be running like super pin bright, but it's cleared up, but it's not as bright as it would be, which is an interesting observation with this coarse grind. But yeah, sparge is rattling on, and we're kind of getting up there onto volume. We're shooting for up here somewhere, but we've still obviously all the runoff to go. So we've got another 80 odd litres to go in, and there's easily 200 litres in there at least to come out. So we should be roundabout on target for our sort of 980, 990 bore volume. Temperature is getting there in the kettle. So yeah, 85 degrees, both elements are on. Sterilants in here, so that's all good and coming along. I've given this a good old clean. It's full of water and sterilant now, so this is now ready to run the sterilizer and run everything through the spray ball. What I have been doing, and what I like to do is before I assemble, is all of the bits and pieces to build up the fermenter have been soaking in really strong PA. Probably since I came in, actually, to be fair. So just to make sure all that stuff is nice and sanitary, and I'll put some gloves on. I'll show you how I assemble all this sort of stuff a little bit later on when the FE is ready to be put back together. But yeah, so yeah, brew day's coming along, just about 10 o'clock, so we're making some really good time. So those of you who know or follow us on social media, you would have seen our struggles with rubbish internet, and we now have FTTP, so we've got fibre to premises has been installed. And we've gone for a solution by a company called Ubiquity. So this is a U6 Plus, so this is like a wireless access point. And around the corner here in my little mini office, we've got printers and all the other bits and pieces, but we've got our fibre as it comes in here. There's the BT router, and then we've got a Cloud Gateway Plus, which is the management brain, as it were, for our Wi-Fi system. So we now run 3 Wi-Fi networks, one for our pod system, so just for our tills, which keeps all that nice and safe and secure. We run one for Maverick staff, and that's just that. And then we run a specific guest AP Wi-Fi that can be accessed by people here. You just have to sign up and put your email in. So yeah, so they installed a new line. So they managed to install it all the way from over there from that pole, which is where I've been telling them it was the whole time, all the way along. They strung it all the way along this line, all the way across to that pole. And then they installed, it's a little bit janky, but it does the job, this kind of standoff arm. And they've run a catenary wire to run the fibre along. And then they've run it down through, I must admit, my cold room condensate line, admittedly, which I'm not sure how good that will be for the cable in the long run, but let's see, it is fibre. And then down and then in through the wall. I'll run the speed test up on the screen for you now, but we're getting 300 meg down and 50 meg up, which is absolutely epic. The till system runs like a dream. We can play music. I can work here. We can, use the internet, and it doesn't make the till system drop out. Yeah, it's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, we're rattling along here nicely. So yeah, transformational, I think, is probably the best way to put it. And if I can, I'll drop in a couple of little screenshots of the Ubiquity software. Highly recommend if you need Wi-Fi for a business or business premises, because really, really good. Not too complicated to set up, and yeah, does the job nicely. So mash, sparge, all complete. We have hit our target volume nicely, so 990, just over, so that's real cool. Happy with that. Stripped everything down, got everything out of the way, let that just draining out before we get on with the joy that is digging out the mash tun. Let's just go and weigh out the boil salts and the boil hops. So, boil salts, I put tracking back on because I just kind of felt like it. I kind of miss it a little bit. See, I love it. I've tried to slow it down a little bit, so we'll see if this is any better. Anyway, so we need to do boil salts. So we've got the boil salts here. So it's 105 grams of calcium chloride, 85 grams of salt. And then for the boil, we've got 150 grams of good old Columbus, because I love Columbus. 60 minutes just as part of the boil. So let's do the minerals. So 105 grams of calcium chloride. So we're back in here again. Oh, it's getting hot though. But we're 11 o'clock now and just about to hit the boil. So we're kind of ahead of things, which is good. It's going to be hot, but might as well try and get it done as quick as possible. When I was, reminds me actually, when I was at doing my IBD training, and I was doing it with a guy called Johnny Mills, Mills Brewing, wild fermentation, just some of the best wild beers you could possibly get. If you do see some, if not, go to his web shop and buy some. Really clever guy as well. He studied at Herrick Watt, and he was doing some like pre-IBD exam course, and I went and did that there. And I was talking to one of the shift brewers for New Bristol. See, I'm under that. How many more times do I need to do it? And he was telling me about, it was one summer a couple of years ago. This is going back a few years. And it was that hot, and the building that they're in is like a steel tin roof kind of scenario. And it was that hot through the summer, having to brew and stuff. So he was doing night shifts because it was cooler. He was coming in at night, brewing through the night, probably just in a pair of shorts, PPE and all that. But yeah, just brewing through the night because through the day it was just brutal, which I kind of get, makes sense. And the thought did cross my mind for here, but I think we'll probably just survive, I think. But if it gets much hotter, we might have to consider doing that. So that's 105 calcium chloride, 85 salt. 85 salt in there. You just kind of have to trust me, really. Because if I come down here, see, look, there it is. 85 salt. Yeah, I've not really found an answer to recording and showing everything that's going on and stuff, but you know, you trust me on it. Oopsie, there we go. So yeah, there we go, done. Right. So let's go and dig the Columbus out of the freezer. I wonder if you can come with me. We can do it this way. If I spin you around, I've kind of crammed things in a little bit over here in the corner. I've literally got a guy coming later. We're going to fill this corner with another small cold room. And this small cold room in the corner is just going to be for can storage only, because we're canning more beers of the 3 we're brewing, you know, this week, and for LCBF we'll be canning them. We're running out of room in the cold store, and we've got kegs to go in there and all that sort of stuff. So actually, it's only going to be like 3 meters by 2 meters, and only needs to be kept at like, you know, 10, 12 degrees, not super cold. But yeah, just for can storage only. So we can then make lots of cans, we can keep them cold, make sure they're kept absolutely the best they possibly can be. Be another little cold storage area. And it means we can focus more on kegs into the big cold store out the back. Bloody lids. So yeah, that's the plan. Columbus. No, not Magnum. That's the Mosaic. I'm going to need that for Whirlpool later. Columbus. Oh yeah, great little side effect of the farm that takes all the grain away for us is they give us free ice cream. So they've got a Jersey herd down the road, and they take all the grain away. They feed it to their cows, and yeah, we get a constant supply of amazing ice cream. So yeah, top tip. It's one of the side benefits to sweating your ass off in here. What's that? Is that the other Columbus, or is that's the Hallertau? Okay, cool. All right. So that's the Columbus. That's the Mosaic we're going to need for the Whirlpool. Happy days. Actually, 2 birds, 1 stone. So yeah, Mosaic, Columbus. Boil, I think it's like 1.5 kilos in the Whirlpool. So yeah, happy days. So we can pick you up and you can follow back round with me. Probably pop you there like that. I'll drop these down. We've got lorries turning up, making the wrong decision, turning into the estate. This is not the estate you are looking for, I believe is the term. So yeah, 150 grams of Columbus. Oh, see, I love Columbus. Because this will all go in together all at the same time. There we go. And then get some cable ties and tie those back up. But yeah, done. So, boil hops ready to go in. 99.8. I should probably get some anti-foam in there. I completely forgot about that. So this is the anti-foam. It is not milk. For those of you who know, hang on a second. You're going to track me all the way up here? You're going to track me all the way up? Well, hang on a minute. Let's put you a little bit further back. If I put you all the way back there, you're going to track. Hopefully it will. So you don't need much of this. Tiny amount. And it should, yeah, literally just about to boil over. Yeah, look, and it's I haven't got the camera to show you, but it's basically breaks the surface tension. And stops the foam being able to build to then be able to boil over. Because obviously here, with this, you can get quite a volcano and that can get quite dangerous. Let me just pop this back. So yeah, that's kind of really not what you want. And with the manway we've got there, you can get a proper volcano, which is really not good or safe for anyone that happens to be stood around. So we're at 100 degrees now, so that should be boil temperature. I can hear it. Yeah, perfect. Perfecto. It's a good volume as well, I think. So yeah, 60 minutes. Let's go. Let's get it down to 1 element. Now we're up to boil. We'll go for that one today. And start the timer, 60 minutes. All right then, legends. So, sit rep. Boil is finished. We are now knocking the work down to 78 degrees, transferring it into the Whirlpool, which is going on quite nicely. Having 4-degree chilled cold liquor tank water is the absolute #1 needed for today. We're just using like a thimbleful as we're knocking it down, which is great because we're going to need all of that cold water later. Further update is we're currently 25.7 degrees in the brewery right now at 12:30. Making good time though if we're transferring to Whirlpool at this time. So things going well so far, but as we say, plenty of disasters can happen between now and then. Whirlpool hops are all measured out. 1.5 kilos of mosaic. This is YCH mosaic, and it's a really good batch because it's all the blueberries, if you know what I mean. That kind of, slightly sweaty. Love it. So that's all kind of ready to go. As I was mentioning earlier, got the yeast out of the cold store, so that's kind of ready to pitch. Big 500-gram brick. So yeah, obviously mash tun's all dug out. That's all cleaned down. Everything's all good. So just while that's transferring across, got a little while to go. Can I get it there? Hang on a second. You see the level is slowly creeping down here. So what I might do is I'll just show you. So we've been sterilising the FE that's going into FE number 3, and I'll just give you a quick show of what I've been doing with that. So yeah, so we're going to be going into FE number 3. So we're just sterilising that one at the moment. So we use our CIP pump, really standard, get out of the way, simple setup. We're sucking it out the bottom through the T-piece with the sight glass that we use when we're transferring. And then we're blowing it out the pump all the way up the top to the spray ball that's at the top, and it spins round and then gives this lovely kind of sheen and sprays all of the sides of the FE. We will take that off for the last 10 minutes and then just chuck it on the racking arm as well, just to make sure all the way through the middle there is nice and sanitized. But what I'll show you is if I come over here and switch it on, it's going to be a little bit noisy, but you can hear, hopefully, you can hear it spinning as it's spinning around. What I like to do is I like to give this kind of like a bit of a prod to make sure we get all that PA water in amongst all of the seal door, because even though in theory nothing should get past that, you want all of the seal nicely and sealed up, and obviously on the ports on the side. But one thing I like to use just to make sure I've got my PA correct is, turn it around, there we go, is I use these, which is PA test strips. And the whole idea, here's one I used earlier when I was doing the brew house, is that they change, zoom, focus on that, is they change colour. And they go from white to brown, and then you use the colour gauge on the end, on the side of the bottle, to tell you. We're aiming for about 500 milligrams a litre, so about that colour, that's obviously nothing. We want that colour or a little bit less. So why don't I take a strip, so you can see, if we come around here, so hopefully you can see a strip It's not had anything on it at all. That's not one to focus today at all, is it? And then if I come over to here, and if I get some, see it changes colour straight away. Actually, that is maybe a little bit on focus, a little bit on the strong side. So I might get a hose and chuck a bit of water in there just to dilute that down a bit, because that's maybe a little bit strong if we compare it colour-wise. See what I mean? We're aiming for that colour. It's not that, which is 1,000. It's somewhere between the two. So I might just dilute that a little bit. Then it becomes no rinse. If it's much beyond 500, then it's no longer becomes no rinse, and it can affect your beer. Transfers going along. We're aiming for 78, so that's dropped down a bit. So I might just slow that down a bit. But yeah, we're getting there. So I thought, as I'm here assembling, if I can get the glove on. Oh, dearie me, this has not gone well, has it? I shouldn't have got my hand wet, should I? Fatal error. Ugh. I thought I'd show you just while the kettle is just transferring to the FE, and all of the contents of the all the fittings and bits and pieces for the FE have been in soak. Seriously, this is what I've got to put up with. 2 seconds. That glove just had something against me, I reckon. Yeah, I thought I'd just show you putting. This one's probably going to fail as well, make me look an idiot, but you know, I've got broad shoulders, I'm used to this. So yeah, just as I'm putting them together. So the reason I've got putting gloves on is the carb stones, which are made out of tiny, tiny aluminium, stainless steel, probably stainless steel actually, balls that are all stuck together, glued together. Well, that bit's covered, that's the main bit. All stuck together, and what you don't want is oils off your skin, because that can get into the gaps in between the balls and it can be a nightmare to clean, it can cause problems. So first thing first, I need one of those, and I need I'm just checking you can see me actually, and I need a big clamp. Yeah, a big clamp and one of these. So here's the carb stone for this tank. The other one for the number one is a bit smaller, but so that's the carb stone. And you probably won't be able to see all the little balls and stuff it's made up of, but yeah, you don't really want to touch that. So 1.5 inch tri-clamp. So slide that inside like that. I don't really like tri-clamps, but I get them a bit because there's, in theory, as long as you seated it correctly, once it's clamped up, it's sealing. There's no kind of, it's not going to leak sort of thing. Whereas obviously stuff that you tighten up, you can over tighten it, squash seals, all that sort of stuff. Let's just keep an eye on that. Yeah, that's all good. So that's that. Next thing, we just need to blank off one of the bits, and then also put on the fitting where the CO2 in will go. So I've got a couple of blanks, exactly for this reason. So just a standard tri-clamp blank. That's because these carb stones came with a pressure gauge that went on this bit, but I see absolutely no value in them because I've got a pressure gauge on the CO2 on the regulator. And so it's kind of like telling you twice, and these ones that came with them were Chinese and a bit cheap and a bit rubbish. So I'm just like, just blank it off. And then the next bit is the gas ball valve. So tri-clamp end, 3/8 ball valve, isolating it. It's an interesting one actually. I've had it before, I didn't do it, but Charlie did it by accident, was where he took this thing off, and the tank wasn't pressurized, so it wasn't carbonated, but actually the weight of the beer that was in the tank wasn't enough to push past the carb stone. So it's like the carb stone has like a static head, So whenever you set the carbonation up on these, set it to go, you need to take into account the static head of the carb stone, because you need to overcome that, which I think is about half a bar for these, and then gas starts going past. So you need to just bear that in mind. So next one here is our sample tap. Give it another little wipe off. We haven't sealed the tank up yet. I still need to move the outlet over and do the racking arm, which I'll do that in a minute. But yeah, new sample tap. These are the ones that take the special clamp-on pigtails, which I don't own yet. I've got obviously my homemade pigtail, if you remember that from the other video. Anyone wants to know how to make them, then drop a comment below and I can stick a description in there on how to do it. If you want to make a pigtail for yourself at home to test your carb. So yeah, awesome, all good. Right, I will give this another quick waz as it is, and then I'll probably seal it up, and then I'll move the outlet across and just do the racking arm, seal it up, and then it's done then. It's ready to transfer into. So we're getting just towards the end of the transfer across to the Whirlpool, and this is where we open the door up of the kettle to see inside. So hang on a second, and we are literally transferring down, right down to the end. And to maximize the yield, I know obviously when the sight glass, when the level gets low enough, and I know obviously we can see the outlet right down there in the middle, and I can control the suction of the pump, the output of the pump, and I can make sure that we're sucking absolutely everything out we can without sucking in loads and loads of trub, which you can just kind of see it's settled roughly just below the surface there. So a couple more minutes, we should be right down there. So now you can see we're getting right the way down towards the end, and you can see the outlet in the middle there, where it's kind of formed like an area where it's able to suck down clean work. And as we get down a little bit further, I'm just going to reach across and just slow the suction of the pump down, so we don't break off any massive chunks from the protein raft that's formed in the dish bottom of the FE. It's going to let that pump down a little bit more, and then I'm just going to slow it down. Slow it down a touch. So that should slow it down a bit more. So we're just pulling in as much of this as we possibly can, because, you know, I want to make as much beer as I can out of this. Come on, light, stop it. There we go. It's just a little bit more, and I reckon that's it right there, like that. There we go. So that's a stop on there, and then we'll stop the transfer pump, and yeah, we're done. So we'll seal this all off and then get the Whirlpool pump going. But yeah, you can see all the trub and everything that's collected at the bottom there, all the protein, and they're the elements that you've got to climb in and give a good old scrape and clean to. So Whirlpool hops ready to go in. I say this mosaic smells amazing. There's nothing really clever about this. Literally, you're just pouring it in steadily so it gets picked up by the flow as the Whirlpool spins round. And it's tight. And this is full. Really good. Woo, that is hot. Really good Whirlpool this pump produces. So one and two. What we'll do is give you a quick look. Come and have a quick look. So hopefully you'll be able to see this. The camera will. There it is. So that's the hops I've just put in, spinning around nicely. Oh, there we go. Yeah, and we'll spin that for 20 minutes. and then let it stand for 5, and then we'll start casting it out into the FE. Smells amazing. So all Whirlpooled, set up, transferred across. I'm going for a transfer temperature of 22 because it's just so hot today. I think get it into tank, and then just let the chiller just bring it down to pitch and temp. But yeah, it's not doing it justice in the light. But yeah, no, happy with that colour coming through really nice and clean and clear. So yeah, happy with that. So yeah, everything's kind of washed down, including inside the kettle, all nice and clean. Needless to say, it's a bit hot and sweaty in there. So yeah, not the best day to be doing that. But yeah, we're getting there. Sit rep, I think, is about 27 degrees at the moment. So yeah, it's a touch warm, but we're doing it. Well, that's it. Brew day's done. Transferred in. It's been an amazingly smooth brew day. That coarse grind extra pale seems to have worked a treat for a couple of points over target. So, and we're on volume. I probably could have got away with, I'm not sure whether I could have got away with sparging adding more water, to be fair, because the FG of the run-ins were getting quite low. I didn't test the pH, but so I think I was like 2 points over. So 1049, which is fine. I'm cool with that. Full volume in the FE. It's been quite a smooth brew day, really, to be fair. Given the nightmare that the last one was, I'm going to take that all day long. So yeah, coarse grind might be the way forward. So we'll just CRP in the tank now. 2:45. Got to pick my lad up from school at 3:30. So all good. I got to race home, get changed, get back, and then open the tap room for 4:30. Maybe try and have a shower actually, because I probably stink. So yeah, time to pitch the yeast. So yeah, Pomona, backwards, going in. Yeah, full brick. FE's down to 20 odd degrees. That's going to keep on going down to 19.2. I think I'm going to get it to ferment at. But yeah, so let's get this in, and that is brew day done, I think, which is I'm happy with that. Bit of PA around there. Have a little bit of back pressure in it, probably because I was back filling under pressure. Let's let that pressure off just a little bit. You can see the spunning valve was going a little bit. Come on. It's amazing the pressure that builds up actually when you're backfilling it with the spunning valve running. So yeah, I'm really interested to see how this yeast performs, how quickly it gets going as well. I've heard it can be quite speedy. So so yeah, it's like 10 to 3 on a Friday. I'll be fascinated to see what the lag's like and how quickly it gets going. I mean, Lallemand yeast is always pretty viable, right? They kind of know what they're doing when it comes to yeast. So I'd hope if Verdant's anything to go by, which was just an absolute beast, this is going to be something similar. So in it goes. Yeah, modern hybrid ale yeast. So let's clamp that bad boy back down, and then yeah, see what it does. Had a really good the running sample I took off to do the gravity. Yeah, it was just all that kind of 1.5 kilo mosaic character in a Whirlpool in work, which is lovely, which I love that. Just a little touch of bitterness as well, not too much, because it's going to be like a 4.2% beer, which obviously I'll need to just qualify that just before we can it for the labels. But yeah, that's it, brew day done. Thanks for coming along, and hopefully you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Leave us a comment if there's other stuff you want to see. And hopefully the next brew day, come in a couple of parts, it should be a bit more interesting, some other new stuff to see. So I'll see you then. Cheers.